Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today I'm doing another version of Incredible Independence. And this is one thing that I just really wouldn't suspect that I'd put on a list to this, but it is The Graveyard Club by R.L. Stien. It is written by R.L. Stien and published by Boom Studios with a $9.99 price point. And this does seem to be, despite how thick it is, it does seem to be more not a one-shot. Okay, the basic plot of this book is there's a group of kids who grew up hanging out in the graveyard. It says here, when we were kids, we played hide and seek in the graveyard every day. We didn't even think it was weird. We didn't think it was strange that our town is named Gravesend. We didn't even know the whole town was surrounded by graveyards. Okay, so that right there just sort of sets the tone for the whole thing, and it's, sure, why not? When you're a kid, you grew up in town like that, that's, why would you think that was weird? But, so you've got, was it 4 or 5, you've got like 5 kids. Well, it starts out with that little bit of narration, and you start out with Parker West, the guy, and Patty Olson. Parker's the guy, Patty is the redhead, and they're sitting in the graveyard doing things that teenagers would do in just about any situation that they could have, and having a discussion about what's going on, and there's a shadow, and it turns out that it's their friend who is just basically trying to scare them, and he's really into horror stuff. So there's Patty and what was his name, Olson? It was Patty and Parker. And then they actually had their friend that's Caleb. And then there's a couple of other friends. And they are sort of like outcasts in the school. And they like, that's where they meet up all the time, is in the graveyard. And there is I think it's Parker, his dad disappeared a long time ago. And they don't know what happened to the dad. And you have the town sheriff, who is basically just busting these kids because he's a dick. And he didn't like Parker's father. And so he's just fucking with the kids because he can, and the kids didn't like him because he was being a dick. And this cop, Ray, I think it was, they call him, has a son their age who is just as big of a bully as he is. And so something starts happening to the kids. Like there's the one here with the teeth. That's one of the friends. He gets pushed down the stairs and breaks his arm, and Parker thinks it's it was Billy, the cop's son, and he was like, no, 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 it wasn't me. And then there's all these weird stuff happening to the kids, and so they're trying to get revenge on the cop, and the son, because he thinks that they are the ones doing it, and there's also these really weird things going on in town, and they think it's the cop and the son. And it turns out they start looking into it, and there's a whole bunch of other weird stuff going on. And of course, it's not what they think. So when I saw this, I thought it was, R.L. Stien. He writes kids books, successfully. I mean, because he's been doing it since I was, somewhat young. But when I said, let me get this. Oh, and there's also like bats showing up and some figures showing up in the graveyards, and like the Parker thinks it's his dad, but he's not sure. And then the one of the other girls, she thinks so not her dad is missing too, and she thought she saw him. So you have this weird thing going on with the parents disappearing, and then people showing up in the graveyard, but you can't see who they are. All right, but I thought these books were for like kids, so I never really got into them. But this was actually kind of enjoyable and a good little bit of a spooky mystery. It's not going to be, it's not, adult stuff, as in like there's lots of, swearing and, excuse me, nudity and violence, but, excuse me, you don't necessarily need all that stuff, but, I should get my horror movie card taken for that, but, this is actually a good book, and it was worth the $10 I paid for it, because the story was really well plotted out. You sort of get you sort of like the kids. You understand their motivation, because, when you're a kid, you sort of felt like an well, I can't speak for everyone, but, I'm sure there's times you felt like an outcast, and there was just your friends, and, then there was the other kids that, did stuff to you, and you wanted to get stuff from them. So you understand that, and then, so I sort of understood how these kids felt, and then there's just the creepiness of what's going on, and I love how their school is the grave robbers. That's their mascot. But I sort of like the mystery and the little semi-spookiness of it, and the town going on things. So, yeah, I mean, I say if you have $10 or $9.99 to spare, and you want something a little different, pick this up. And it does say number one, and it leaves off with a mystery. I mean, with a cliffhanger. Oh yeah, and so it was there's Caleb, Trip, and Rhonda are the other three right there. Rhonda was the other one whose dad is missing. But it leaves off with a bit of a um, you know, I guess they're going to try and figure out what happened to their dads. So I'm going to say pick this up and just get it if you have $10 to pick it up and read something like. You want to read it? Do it because the story is really good. The art isn't half bad. You know, it's pretty decent actually, and so it's an enjoyable book. And you know how Boom Studios is; they don't really have any advertisements until the back. There's not that many of them. Just a couple more advertisements for other Boom books, and then it has a little bit of art stuff in there, which is kind of nice. So yeah, pick it up, read it, you'll enjoy it. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. So let me know if you read it. Let me know what you thought about it if you read it, and like, subscribe, possibly share, and enjoy your comics.